Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, that was sad. Y'all are teachers, educators. Come on now. It's lunchtime. I've not eaten yet. So I'm going to be either a little bit crazy or a little bit cranky. I'm not sure. So good afternoon. Thank you. All right, my name is Mindra Wise. I am a technology facilitator at West Mecklenburg High School and Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm very excited to be down here where it's a bit warmer than where I'm from, nice and sunshiny. I came to this conference 2 years ago as just a normal, what do we call? Participant, there we go. Oh, you see how this is going to go now. I should have eaten. And I enjoyed it so much. Like everything that I learned here at the FETC was actually better than some of the other conferences in North Carolina. So I wanted to come back. And my passion for the last couple of years has been Google. We have an initiative in our school district where we have adopted the Google Apps for Education. And it has completely revolutionized how I do business, how I do teaching within the school building, and how we're trying to conform some of our administrators, you know, across the district as well. Last summer, I started the process of becoming Google certified. So I went through the process and took a whole bunch of tests that aren't very easy. Has anyone in here been Google certified? Awesome. And then just recently, within the last couple of months, I finally got the notification that I am an official authorized Google education trainer. So yay! That doesn't mean that I know everything, but it just means that I'm really excited and passionate about it, and I want to learn, and I want other people to learn as well. All right, so all of my information is here. If you like any of it, steal what you like, because I know us teachers, we beg, borrow, and steal. It's totally okay. So once you get into my presentation, which you have access to, my email address is there, all of my social media contacts is there, the presentation, and this is all also linked on the My FETC. So I'm going to start changing over here in just a second. So those of you that are scanning are going to need to go to the FETC to get that. I know I see a couple of you. There's one right there. You can get that one. So chances are I've got a little bit more information in here than the 45 minutes is going to allot us, because I realized as I was putting this together, I had done this same presentation for like a 3-hour training. So we're just going to speed through some of the things that some of you might already know to get to some of the other stuff, okay? When you're not working on your own computer. There we go. Okay. So one of the things that I love about Google, which y'all probably already know since you're in here, is that Google does not discriminate. You've seen the old ads for the Mac versus PC. Well, Google works on anything, so it's okay. But of course, the preferred browser that you're going to use is Google. That's what I tell my teachers all the time. They have trouble because our default browser in the district is still Internet Explorer. All right, I hear groans. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So the teachers will try and open up something I've sent to them, and they're like, Miss Wise, I can't get it to work. My first question is always, what browser are you using? I said, if you're ever in something with the name Google in it, use Google Chrome, because they play nicely together. Some of the other browsers don't necessarily do that. So those of you that are tech people as well, that everybody in your school goes to for help, that's one of the first questions that you need to be asking them when they're having trouble with stuff. And of course, we've got the apps on the iPad as well. Not sure that I'm really loving the separation of the sheets and slides, or sheets and docs, but you know, I'll give them that feedback. All right, so this is what we're going to try and get through today. I'm going to guess that most of us in here are familiar and are already using Google Apps for Education, or at least a personal Google account, so I'm not really going to show you which buttons to click and how to open up Drive and do things like that. I want to get into more intricate stuff that you might not already know, some of the things you might. I hope that you take away something from the session today. And then if we have time at the end, we can kind of open it up to A, questions, or B, kind of a tech slam to where I get to learn some stuff as well, because I know that there's always more information in a room that's got more people in it. So within Drive, we want to show how you can store, organize, share, and some third-party apps. Then doc sheets, forms, and slides, look at some of my favorite add-ons and extensions. Classroom, my new favorites. Calendar is actually my old favorite, but it's still my favorite. If you haven't played with appointment slots, I'm going to go into that quite a bit. And I have a separate presentation that I've linked to that I've done PDs on before because it's just revolutionized how I do business within the school. Then some favorite Chrome extensions, and then some cool stuff that I've learned along the way that you may or may not know, my secrets. All right, so what do we know, how we can store? Any file type. It's unlimited for the Google, okay? So if you're making sheets, slides, docs, forms, it has an unlimited amount of storage in there. It's going to hold any kind of file that you want. And basically how I describe it to some of my teachers, because they kind of get really funny when you say cloud, you know, they're like, I don't know if I trust that yet. So, but once they get into it, it's like, this is pretty much your big flash drive in the sky. Like anything that you put on your flash drive, you can do here as well. Of course, we want to prefer that you convert things to Google so then you can edit from anywhere. All right. Some fun organizing tips. How many of you knew that you could color code your folders? That's not very many hands. I love color. We'll get in there in just a second, and I'll show you real quick how you can do that. Color code, you can star things. Using the stars is really cool because I have got so many files now in my Google Drive that it gets a little overwhelming. I'm like, what folder did I put that in? Where's that at? So that I didn't have to search for my presentation today, I starred it. So now it's in this special starred folder and I didn't have to look for it, it was right there. You can put one file into more than one folder at a time. So if you were, okay, we have to have more fun than them at some point, all right. But you can put one file in multiple folders. So let's say I was working on like an observation for a teacher. Well, I'm going to put that in my observation folder, but I also want to put that in like that teacher's name folder so that they can share it and see it as well. And then of course within Drive you can see all of the history and details. You can see who's done what when, and oh my gosh, I deleted something. That's okay. You can go back and retrieve it. It's one of the most awesome things ever. Teachers freak out. They're like, oh my gosh, I deleted it. I don't know how to get back. You just go into the history and figure out when the last one that you liked was, and it's there. All right, different ways we can share, because that's one of the best parts of Google is that it's collaborative and we can share. How many of you in your districts have very tiny email boxes? Just 2 of you? Oh my goodness, our email only holds 50 megs. So I send out a PowerPoint and it's already red. It's blinking at me saying, you're over your limit. You can't send or receive. All right. So if you share things through Google, documents that your staff needs or that your students need, or even sometimes that your parents need, then it's not taking up any space. You can share things with a link. So if you want to, just like I had given you an option this morning, you could scan the QR code or you could go to the specific link. I took the actual long link and made it a short link, okay, because we don't like typing out all of those long links. And I can also publish this. This is actually, my presentation here has been published to the web as well. So anytime I make any sort of adjustments to my presentation, it automatically adjusts to where I have it embedded, which is really cool. I'll show you some examples of those. And then once you have things shared with other people, you don't have to go out to a separate email and send emails to other people. You can send emails to collaborators right within Google. Okay, so real quick, some third-party apps for Drive. If you've not checked out some of the apps and extensions, because it gets pretty overwhelming looking through those. But, you know, when you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and can't sleep, this is something fun you can do, all right? So some of your Google Drive apps, PDF Mergy, where you can take more than one PDF and put them together. Snagit, I know that we've all heard of Snagit. You know, we like to take stuff that doesn't necessarily always belong to us. Make sure you give credit where credit is due when you snag something. Edify. I've got a tip here in the middle. Read before you allow. Sometimes we always get into the habit of just saying accept, 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 but we don't necessarily read what those terms and conditions are. So please make sure that you read what you're allowing Google to do. And then, of course, once you've added it, you can create pretty much anything. Endless possibilities. So within Docs, you know that you can have simultaneous editors. There's actually, we go out here for a second. So this is a story builder, which is kind of cool. It's showing you basically, so you can kind of use this as a introduction to show your students what's going on, how one was green and now one is blue. So it's just showing you how we can go in and edit simultaneously and what happens on the back end, and we can actually get started and write one ourselves. So I've got plenty of links in here for us. The revision history, this is one I talked about where if you deleted something or you accidentally deleted the whole entire thing, where are you going to get it at? You're going to go into, let's just open up. See, I've got a lot in here. Let's Untitled, that should be fun. It's mystery, we don't know what it's going to be. All right, I don't know what I was trying to do there. But anywho, if you go back up here to where it says last edited on December 9th, this is going to be part of your revision history. So if I click on that, it's going to show me who typed what, and it's going to show up in my color is green. So if anybody else had typed something, it would show up in a different color, and it would show you over here what was done. So sometimes when you have multiple people editing a document, you give other people rights, but they deleted something that they shouldn't have deleted, you can go back and find it again without having to panic. Inline chat comments. So this is really cool when you've got the chat feature. So I'm sitting in my office, and my testing coordinator is sitting in her office, and we're working on a spreadsheet together, and we're trying to come up with what's going on. So I'm starting to type, she's starting to type, and then I open up the chat, and so I'm chatting with her, letting her know what I'm about to do so she doesn't override me, all right? And your students can do this as well. It's not for teachers or administration alone. The chat feature is there for everybody. And of course, we've got the Hangouts. It says Business Hangouts because that's kind of the umbrella that it's under. But Google Apps for Education and Google Apps for Business has the Hangouts to where you can actually live chat if you've got the camera or microphone, so you can live chat with people. Anybody use the research feature in documents? Just a couple of hands. Okay, so let's go back over here to the documents. So we've all got students that are trying to research something, right? And they're getting their information from Wikipedia. We all know that that's the best source on the internet to get information from, right? Yeah. Okay, so if you go under Tools and go to Research, let's see. Let's research puppies, because puppies are fun. Aw, that's so cute. So I'm going to I found some information about puppies that I want. So I'm going to click and drag the puppy over. What's in the lower right-hand corner? Can anybody see that? A 1. And what does that correspond with? The citation. So I know that the more techie we get, sometimes the further away from our library science that we get. And some of us could potentially get into a lot of trouble for plagiarism at some point in our lives. Me included. I need to go back and rework some of my stuff on my website, I know. But trying to teach some of our students that is very difficult when they don't have to go into the library and open up the Dewey Decimal Cabinet and find things, right? So if they're using the research feature within Google, it's kind of going to do it for them, but you're explaining to them why that's important, okay? Now, is it going to be in the proper format? Not always necessarily, no. We might have to do some reformatting if you need things in specific MLA or APA or whatever. But for general citation and just showing students that you got to cite what you got where you got it, this is perfect. Okay, so anytime you use, that's just a picture. You can use websites as well and anything else. I just dragged it and dropped it in where I wanted it and it automatically cited it for me. Anybody learn anything new already? Yay! Okay. Google Translate, not always the most accurate, but when you get kids that come fresh off the boat, it's a great help. You know, I've had several kids in my classes sometimes that come to me first day, they just got off the plane and they don't speak any English whatsoever. You know, so I typed in I had a Vietnamese boy, and I typed in some of my directions that I was trying to speak to him, and it was awesome. It wasn't perfect, but he was at least able to understand, and he was smiling and excited that I was making an effort to try and communicate with him rather than just speaking loudly and pointing. All right, so it does have some great uses. And also with your documents, you can also publish it HTML as a website as well. So what does that mean? That means when I go to publish it, so let's go over here to my untitled document. So if I go to File, Publish to the Web, make this document content visible to anyone. Yes, so I'm going to publish it. Are you sure? Yes. So now I have a couple of options. I can link it or I can embed it. So if I want to send this link out, which is what I did to put it into the My FETC, I just put the link in there. This is always going to be a live link unless I turn it off. So any more edits that I make in this particular document are automatically going to show up in the published version. So I've kind of created my own little website. Or if I want to embed it into my website itself, there you have it. That works the same. The publish works the same in docs and slides. All right, and some cool add-ons within docs would be some clip art, template gallery. I love using templates because I don't want to have to recreate something that somebody's already done. Okay, so you can use that. And EasyBib. Our school district uses EasyBib. We have a subscription to that, so putting that within Google helps the kids a lot too. So that's going to help them format into APA or MLA or whatever else they need to use. All right, so if we're moving into Sheets, Sheets is the same as Excel. You're going to use pretty much 99% of the time the same formulas you use in Excel. I have reference sheets here that are live links that you can use, and some useful functions and a complete list there for you as well. And some add-ons. GMath gives you a graphing calculator. This guy here is a number randomizer, so that's always fun. I was a math teacher before I was a tech geek. I don't remember what that one was. Let's try. Let's see. Which one did I like? Oh, split names. That was one of the things that in Excel, you could take your columns and you've got your names, your last name, first name that you've copied from your grade book, but I want them to be in two separate cells. So in Excel, there was an easy split them up. So there's an add-on in Sheets that you can get called split names, so that it'll take that for you and you can tell it how many columns you have and what you need to split apart. So there are some things that I know when you're playing around face value within Google, you're like, but Word and Excel and PowerPoint does this, why doesn't Google? It does, you just have to get an add-on or an extension to do most of the things. I haven't really found anything yet that Google can't do. Sometimes you just have to kind of find a workaround to figure it out. Flubaroo. Do we have some fans of Flubaroo? Oh, more hands, yay. Flubaroo, like my teachers, when I show this to them for the first time, they're like, oh, I don't have to grade anything. And I'm like, no, it's all done for you. So if you haven't played with Flubaroo yet, basically what you would do is you would create a form and create it as a quiz. Let's do a multiple choice quiz, okay? You're going to take that quiz, and you know the answers that you get from a form go into a spreadsheet. So if you add on Flubaroo to your Google Sheets, you can set it up to grade the quiz from forms. It's so super simple. There really is. And on Flubaroo, it's got a little short video that you can watch to do that. And, and templates. All right, so forms is just taking over our school. I think sometimes my teachers get frustrated. They're like, you want me to fill out another form? But it's like the easiest way to gather information. So for me personally, as a technology facilitator, I get people asking me, to help them in their classroom, to fix a broken printer, to change the students' passwords, and all of these things. And coming through email, it gets pretty cumbersome trying to go through all of those emails. So what I've done is set up special Google Forms, so you have to fill that out for me to do something for you. So let me go to my personal website real quick and show you what I mean. So right here on my website, I have a whole category dedicated to Google Forms. So if teachers or students want to put something on the announcements, there's a form for the announcements. They just fill that out, comes to me or whoever is running the announcements, and then they know they need to put it on there. Facilities issues. So we got cracks in our walls or something needs painted so that we know where to go. Gradebook verification. I don't even want to open that one right now because I'm in charge of the grade books and they were due this week and I'm here. So that should be fun this weekend. Recovery logs, students are making up time when they've decided to not come to school. Shout out form, when teachers are doing something great, we want to give them recognition. So give them a place to anonymously or not anonymously, put in a great note for another teacher, what they're doing. And supply request, you need pencils, you need paper, you need dry erase markers, all that kind of stuff. Technology issues, this one's a really long list. When my printer's broken or I need more ink or I've got 7 students that can't log into their Google account, 7 students that can't log into their PowerSchool account, all of that kind of stuff. So all of those forms I've got housed in one location so it's easier for the teachers to access so they don't have to keep looking through their Google account or looking through their emails to find it. I've tried to house everything for them. But I mean, some just tips there of what you can use forms for. You can take attendance when you do walkthroughs. If you're some type of administration and you're doing some informal observations of teachers, you can quickly just put it in a Google form and then it'll spit it out in a spreadsheet so that you can have a conversation with that teacher or even share that data with them. Reading log, rubric, self-assessments, I mean, it's just endless what you can do with it. Now, the settings in forms is unique from some of the slides and sheets and docs. I can, since I'm within a Google Apps for Education environment, I can require Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools login to view the form. So that means if I send out a form and I put it on my website and a parent gets into it, they're not going to be able to do anything because it's going to require them to log in with their school email address. So it kind of has some sort of security built in with it there as well. I can automatically collect teachers' usernames. So if I don't want them, I just want something quick, down and dirty, but I don't want them to have to put their name in, I'm going to collect their username, so it's going to give me their email address when they fill out the form. And then, of course, if I don't click any of that, I can make it completely anonymous. And that's sometimes hard to get teachers to buy into. You have to do a demonstration with them to show them that it truly is anonymous unless I click that little button. Okay? If I'm not asking for your name and I'm not collecting your name, I don't know who filled it out. And that's a really, really hard buy-in for teachers, especially when you're asking them to give feedback about something. Or we started using the forms for our what is that? I call it the complaint committee. But, you know, when the teachers get together and they decide on things that need to be improved upon in the school. All right, some of the features is you get your, I love it when you can go from page to page. So if I say yes, I can set it to so that it goes to page 2. But if I say no, I can set it so that you're done with the survey. You know, so you can set it so that it goes to specific pages that you want it to go to. And then there's a lot of cool things that you can do with actual Google Scripts. It gets insanely crazy once you get into there, because I can actually set up a script to where once somebody fills it out, they'll get an email automatically with either the results or a thank you or something like that. All right, into slides. We can make templates. You can make templates in anything, but within your Google Apps for Education account, you can create templates and save them in the database so that anybody in your school district can use them. So you can see here that I created a CMS template so that anybody that's using this within the district has the same type of template to use, only it's Google-based, just like the FETC had theirs for presenters, but they used PowerPoint. So. But I could have converted it to a Google if I wanted to. When you're in slides, you can snap to guidelines so that everything's nice and neat, so that it's not, so that everything, you've got your lines so that it's centrally located vertically and horizontally. We can crop, and then of course, if you go into drawings, you can do, I haven't played with drawings that much, to be honest with you, but it's pretty much endless once you get into drawings and start putting stuff in there. All right, Classroom. This is not a Google Classroom session, so I'm not going to teach you how to use Google Classroom. I'm just sharing the awesome stuff that Google has, okay? But if you're not a Google Apps for Education district yet, you need to talk to somebody about it because it's free, okay? Classroom can only be used with a Google Apps for Education account. If you have just a plain old Gmail account, you don't have access to Classroom. Anybody use Edmodo, Schoology, and other things? Gaggle. Okay, so we've used all of those at some point as well. And since we've got Classroom now and it's free, it is the best tool out there that is the simplest. Can Edmodo do more? Yeah, it can. And if you're looking for all the bells and whistles, then stick with it. It's okay. But if you're looking for something that's incredibly stupid simple, okay, Classroom is your deal. As far as the back end for the teacher setup and as far as the front end for the students to use, it is the simplest tool out there. They've taken all of the bells and whistles out and they've just made it what it needs to be, making our classrooms virtual and starting to go paperless. So students can submit assignments there, you get them in your Google account, you grade them right there on the computer and you submit it back to them with their grade. It's very easy. All right, so on this slide, basically, it was kind of a real quick snippet of things that are good to know, and things that you need to know to get started. So teachers always love color and customization. Yes, there is a bit you can do. Hopefully down the road, they'll give you more options because they only have a few customized labels that you can put at the top. Managing your email notifications. Google loves feedback. So anytime you're playing around with some of their platforms and you see there can be an improvement, send it to them. Might not get done right away, but if the more people that send them feedback, because when this was in the early beta stages, they had plenty of people wanting some different bells and whistles that Edmodo uses. And before it came out last summer, I mean, it was, I don't know, they would have, if it had come out the way it originally came out to the masses, I don't think it would be doing as well right now, but they really take your feedback seriously. You can delete classes and unenroll from classes. And we're using this in our schools in a couple of different ways. Not only as a teacher do I have a classroom set up for my students, but myself as a facilitator, I have a classroom set up for my teachers. So when I want to give them professional development or resources, I've put it into my Google Classroom that they have access to. And nobody else has access to it unless they have the code to get in. And I can close that code at a certain point, and then they can't get in after that. So the things that teachers, of course, need to know in order to get started is how to access it, classroom.google.com, how to create a class, click the plus sign, how to share with students. One of the things within the Google Classroom, though, is when you get that code, sometimes those codes, the letters, to me, are not very easy to read. Like if there's an L in it, some of the kids are going to think it's a 1, right? If there's an S, a 5, those kind of things. You can click on Give Me a New Code as many times as you want to until you like the code that it gives you. Unfortunately, we can't customize the codes yet. That's one of those things that hopefully is going to come along very soon. But I just keep clicking on it until I like the letters that it reads, basically. Because I don't want it to be lowercase l 5, d 7, uppercase L. Like, you have letters and numbers that don't go very well together. And then you can add supplemental materials under the About that anybody can get to at any time. All right, calendar, I already said, was my favorite. Okay, so what can you do in calendar? Well, we all know about the top 4. Okay, create, invite, subscribe, take your calendars and embed them. How many of you have used appointment slots? Few hands, okay. So appointment slots, and this link goes to the presentation that I've done within my school district of showing them how to use it. How I use my appointment slot calendar is this. I have a link here for sign-up calendars. So we have computer labs, media center, different areas of the auditorium, different areas of the school that need sign-ups. I'm not going to be in my office all the time for somebody to come by and sign up on a piece of paper. I used to use Sign Up Genius, and I still do for certain things. But Sign Up Genius to me was a little cumbersome. I had to type in every single date and every single time slot that I wanted. Well, with Google Calendar appointment slots, I have the computer lab set up, first block, second block, third block, fourth block, from August 25th to June 1st. Done. One click, done. Then I just go back in and delete slots that I don't want, like Christmas break. Nobody needs to sign up over Christmas break. I can just delete them. So let's take a look real quick at what one of these looks like. I'm logged in with my Google Apps for Education account. If you were not, you would not be able to see anything. Let's go to a different time slot where I don't have anything. Okay, here we go. So here's an actual appointment slot calendar that teachers can sign up for. If there is a gray slot to click on, I can sign up for that time slot. It's available for me. And it already has my name there for me because I'm logged in with my account. If there's no gray spot to sign up on, that means somebody else has already taken it. I didn't think it was that hard of a concept, but I had to go over it a couple of times because they thought that this was the part that was already taken up and that this over here should have been free space for them to sign up for. Now my teachers are great at it and they're using it quite frequently.
Can you do more than like we use a test sign up? We have to allow 2 at a time.
Yes. Yes, you can. And also, one of the complaints that I did get, not necessarily complaints, but feedback from my teachers, because I said I used to use Sign Up Genius. In Sign Up Genius, you could see who was already signed up, right? Because you wanted to know if your neighbor had the iPad cards already signed out, and so you wanted to know if you could split with them or if you could use it during their planning period, right? So what I decided to do to combat that, because using the Google Calendar for my end was so much easier, I figured, well, I need to find a way to give them that information. Who is already signed up? So I created a calendar. Who's already signed up? And what I do is I go in the back end on my calendar side, and I'll go in and show you where that is and get the embed code, and then just embed it in here. So I'm embedding this, and you can see who already has those time slots signed out, so that you can go and ask them if you need to use something, or you're just being nosy and want to know who has it. On my directions page, which nobody reads, it does say down at the bottom, I love my disclaimers, that administration reserves the right to cancel your appointment for any time. Because sometimes we have PD sessions or online testing that needs to take place and we don't know about it far enough in advance. So just keep those kind of things in mind when you're putting stuff out there for your staff to use or for your students to use if you're signing up. I also use this for my personal sign up. I'm a facilitator for the entire school. So I give my time slots that I'm free for the teachers. So they can sign up to come sit one-on-one PD with me, or I can go and do a whole PLC at a time, or if they want me to come and co-teach with them. So I've given my personal time slots for them to when I'm available as well, and they can go in and sign up for it. So if you've not played with Google Calendar appointment slots yet, you need to. And I'm going to give you the real quick down and dirty here, because I don't know, I love it. All right, so we're in your calendar. You can click anywhere on any of your calendars. Once you do that, if you just start typing, it's going to create an event, which means I'm going to the dentist. Okay, that is an event. It's something that's happening. But if I want to create a calendar for people to sign up for, then I want to click on appointment slots immediately. So once I click on appointment slots, then I can go in and edit my details further and get that information. Okay, so I can fill all that out. Let's look at one that's already filled out now. The difference between a calendar event and an appointment slot is going to be in the upper left-hand corner. The appointment slots have a little calendar icon in the upper left-hand corner, whereas your events don't have anything there. So you'll know if you made a mistake, because I've done it lots of times where I'm not paying attention, and I think I'm making an appointment calendar, and I just make an event, and then I got to go back and redo it. But once I'm in here, here's the appointment slot live link. So if I don't want to embed this, you don't have to. You can just click on the link, copy it, paste it into an email, send it out. Or copy the link, put it on your website, there it is, they can just click on it and go. I just like embedding because I think it's fun and pretty. So if you just take the iframe code, which I have that in my presentation for calendar as well if you're interested in looking at that, you take the iframe code that you would normally use to embed something and you stick this link inside of the iframe code, and that makes it a live embed code. Because the difference between the appointment calendar and the regular calendar is this doesn't give you an automatic embed code. So you kind of have to make your own. Let's go back. So once I'm in my calendars, because you wanted to see, or I wanted to show you, how I did the who signed up calendar. So you would go into the calendar settings, and you would get this iframe code, which is your embed code, for that particular calendar to see who's already signed up. There are tons of videos out there that are very helpful, short snippets of videos on Google and on YouTube, which kind of go together. So if any of this is really interesting to you, because I'm going super fast through it, you can contact me. I'll be happy to get back with you, or you can always Google it and look on YouTube for some short videos to learn about. All right, some must-have Chrome extensions. Save to Google Drive. So this one up here, if I'm working anywhere on the internet and I found something that I want to save, just click that real quick. It saves it right away for me, okay? Tab scissors and tab glue are my new favorite extensions because I love to work side by side. So if I click my tab scissors, I've got two windows now. So no more of this opening up a new window and then trying to squish it down so they both fit right away, you know. I've got automatic 2 equal tabs, and I can move them over if I want to. You know, I can make this one bigger and that one smaller, but it automatically fits it there. So then when I'm done working simultaneously, right, because I've got one document opened here and something over here, and I'm copy and pasting. So if I just copy from my left, paste it in my right, keep going back and forth, they're open right there for me. I don't have to keep opening stuff. Then when I'm done, I hit the tab glue, and it puts it back together where you were. It's like the best little thing I ever learned last summer was tab scissors and tab glue. Screencastify is a way that you can, just like Screencast-O-Matic, like you're going to take video of what you're doing on the screen. Screencastify and any of those screenshots are absolutely awesome for your students. Let's say you've got students that are chronically absent, or even if a student that just is, absent on occasion. If you take a screencast of your lesson and you put it on your website or you put it in your Google Classroom, then when students are absent, there's not really an excuse there. They've got it there for them. Or maybe students were present physically, but not mentally that day. So then they can go home that night and look at the lesson again. So anytime you can screencast is really awesome. No, we don't want to restart. No, postpone. Thank you. All right, Snagit, I think we already talked about. Session Buddy. Session Buddy is going to help you manage your browsers and look to see what tabs you have opened, where they're at. But one of the really cool ones is video notes. The easiest way to take notes from videos. So we're doing flipped classrooms, right? Or we're trying to. So if we give the kids a video that we want them to watch, if they open up that video through video notes, they're going to have off to the side a place where they can take notes right there on the screen while they're watching the video. And guess where that's going to be saved? In their Google Drive. Okay, so no more of them having to watch the video, taking notes by hand, and then having to type it up. They can type up the notes right then and there. Let's see, do I have sound connected to the computer if I hit play? Notice there on the left-hand side, they're even showing when you're taking notes, it's showing what minute or second you're taking the notes from the video. So if you need to go back to the video and rewatch something, it's got the time there for you. So I thought that was a really cool hidden app, if you've not seen that one before, that you might want to play around with. Good for both teachers and students alike. All right, so now let's get into some of the other little secrets. Inside Search. If you've not played with Inside Search before, this is a great way to basically kind of teach your students how searching works as well. And if you go here basically to how search works, it shows you the trickle-down effect of what happens. How we start with the algorithms, and then when we start to scroll down, it gets into the crawling and indexing. So now we're using our vocabulary, right? Our tiered vocabulary to get the students excited and understanding what's happening. Google Trends is also really cool. Anybody think they know what's trending today? Tom Brady. Yay. All right. Seasonal searches for snowboarding and surfing. So this changes on a second-to-second basis. So Google Trends is really cool, especially if you're doing like current events. Okay, you can pop that up real quick if you need to have a real quick class discussion on something that's happening right now. Go into Google Trends and find out what's trending. GOO.GL is what I use to shorten my presentation link. So some of you may be familiar with Bitly. Google has their own form. Google Keep is kind of like Evernote. That one's a real secret one, and unless you've already played with it before, when I heard about it, I was like, what? So once again, once you put your notes in there, it's automatically saved into your drive. Spreadsheets, once you put something in your spreadsheet, you can actually use the formula here to create a QR code right within your spreadsheet. So you don't have to go out to QR code creator or Crafter or anything like that. You can do it right within your Google spreadsheets. So, all right, I think my time is about up. I thank you very, very much. I hope that you were able to take one snippet away, if not more than that, from the session today. On my presentation here are all live links to lots of support materials and other presentations that I have done, so please feel free to use those. I would greatly appreciate it at some point today if you could go onto the My FETC and take the evaluation so that I can help get better for the next time as well. I always appreciate feedback. And if you have any questions, feel free to stay around. Otherwise, go enjoy. Have some lunch. Go down. Thank you.